Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a big one. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
hmm A book that's definitely made some waves.
Absolutely. And, it's generated a lot of discussion, maybe even some controversy in personal finance circles.
For sure.
So our mission, like always, is to dig into the sources you send us, articles, notes, forum discussions, and pull out the key insights, the real nuggets of value from this book.
Yeah, try and distill what it's all about.
At its heart, Rich Dad, Poor Dad compares these two father figures in Kiyosaki's life. You've got the rich dad, his friend's dad, who's an entrepreneur, financially savvy.
Right.
And then there's his poor dad, his actual father, highly educated, government job, but, struggled financially.
And the core message, really, is that the book wants to change how you think about money. It's trying to teach the mindset, the playbook, that, according to Kiyosaki, rich people use, which is often quite different from what most of us are taught.
Yeah, it pushes back against that conventional wisdom, which brings us straight to the first big idea. The rich don't work for money. Now, most of us probably heard, go to school, good grades, safe job. That's the standard advice, right?
Yeah, it's script.
But Rich Dad's advice was totally different. It was learn how money works, then make money work for you. So what's the fundamental disconnect there? How does that alternative view change things?
Well, the standard advice trains you to be an employee, essentially. You treat your time, your skills directly for a salary. You work for the money.
Okay.
Kiyosaki argues the wealthy focus elsewhere. They focus on building or buying assets, things that generate income independently of their direct time input, passive income streams.
So it's about creating systems, owning things that pay you.
Exactly. It challenged that whole idea that work just means showing up for a job. It's a different way of thinking about effort and reward.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that flows right into the next really crucial point, the importance of financial literacy. Like, this isn't just a nice to have, it's essential.
Absolutely non-negotiable in his view.
And he hammers home this distinction between assets and liabilities. Just understanding that difference can be a huge aha moment for people, can't it?
Oh, totally. And his definitions are super simple, almost blunt. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out.
Simple enough.
But here's the tricky part, and where, based on the sources, people often stumble, mistaking liabilities for assets.
Like the classic example, the house or the car.
Right. That new car on finance looks great, feels like an asset maybe, but those monthly payments are draining cash. It's a liability. Even your main home, which everyone calls an asset, if it's mostly costing you money in mortgage, taxes, upkeep, and not generating income, functionally, it's behaving like a liability in Kiyosaki's framework.
It really forces you to look at your possessions differently.
It's a big mental shift.
Okay, so if step one is understanding assets versus liabilities, step two seems to be taking charge, which Kiyosaki calls mind your own business.
Yeah, and that's not about literally quitting your job tomorrow necessarily.
Right, it's more philosophical.
It's about focusing on building your asset column. Your business is your collection of income-generating assets separate from your job, which pays your bills.
So think like an investor or an entrepreneur, even if you have a day job.
Precisely. He suggests practical things like maybe start a side hustle, invest in real estate if you learn how, buy stocks or bonds. It's about proactively building your own financial engine, not just being a cog in someone else's.
Okay, got it. Now, this next part is where things get maybe a bit more controversial or surprising for some readers. Taxes and the power of corporations.
Yeah, this definitely raises eyebrows sometimes.
He argues the rich use corporate structures very differently than employees. How does that work?
Well, it boils down to understanding the tax system, basically. For most employees, the flow is earn pie, pay taxes, spend what's left.
Yep, sounds familiar.
For a corporation, or someone operating through one effectively, the flow can be earn spend on legitimate business expenses, pay taxes on the remainder, the profit.
So the spending comes before the taxes.
On business-related things, yes. Think salaries, investments, equipment, travel for business purposes. These reduce the taxable profit legally. It's not about illegal evasion. It's about using the tax code as it's designed for businesses.
So leveraging the rules.
Exactly. Some critics, like you see in some of the source material, argue this system favors the wealthy. But Kiyosaki frames it as playing the game by its established rules. You need to learn those rules.
That's a really key difference in perspective. And building on that strategic thinking, there's this idea that the rich invent money, which sounds well, kind of out there.
It does sound a bit like magic, doesn't it? But it's not meant literally.
Okay, so what does he mean?
It's about financial intelligence, seeing opportunities others miss, structuring deals, solving problems in a way that creates value, and yes, taking calculated risks.
Calculated risks, right, not just gambling.
No, definitely not. It's about having the knowledge to assess the situation, see potential upside where others only see the risk of loss, and then acting on it. He contrasts this with the fear of losing money that holds many people back. Financial education helps you spot, or in a sense, invent these opportunities.
So spotting value, solving problems, that's where the invention comes in.
Pretty much. It's about creating value through insight and action.
This ties in nicely with the next principle, work to learn, not to earn. This seems to be about skill acquisition beyond just your job title.
Absolutely. It's about long-term capability, not just the short-term paycheck.
Yeah.
Rich Dad apparently encouraged learning broadly.
So not just getting really good at one narrow thing.
Right. More about acquiring a diverse skill set, things like marketing, sales, negotiation, understanding investments, communication. These are tools that make you more adaptable, more capable of building wealth in different ways, rather than just being dependent on one employer or one skill.
Developing a kind of financial toolkit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The goal isn't just a bigger salary. It's building the skills needed for genuine financial independence.
Okay, so we've talked mindsets, strategies, skills, but Kiyosaki also addresses the internal roadblocks, right? The psychological stuff.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
He argues that these are often the biggest hurdles.
What does he identify?
He lists 5 main ones. First, fear, specifically the fear of losing money, which stops people taking action. Then cynicism, that it'll never work. It's a scam attitude that shuts down possibilities.
Okay.
Third is laziness. Not necessarily physical laziness, but maybe mental laziness, avoiding the effort to learn or manage finances.
Right, putting it off.
Fourth, bad habits, like poor spending habits that sabotage any effort to save or invest.
Yeah, it's a common one.
And finally, arrogance, thinking you know it all, which closes you off to new learning and feedback. He says overcoming these is just as critical, maybe more so, than learning financial techniques.
Wow. Okay, so it's a lot about mindset and self-discipline too.
Hugely. They're like the internal gatekeepers.
So, wrapping this all together, Rich Dad, Poor Dad seems to be making a pretty strong statement that, well, maybe traditional education doesn't quite cut it for teaching financial independence.
That's definitely a core theme. It highlights a gap, suggesting that what we learn in school about academics often doesn't translate into real-world financial savvy.
And the big takeaway then is what? Take control of yourself.
Exactly. It's a call for self-education, for discipline, for actively managing your financial life. Kiyosaki really pushes the idea that it's not just about how much money you make.
It's about what you do with it, how you manage it, how you grow it.
Precisely. That's the key.
So if we boil down the absolute essence of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it comes down to a few core ideas.
Yeah, I think so. First, assets generate income, liabilities create expenses. Know the difference.
Right. Second, financial education can be more valuable than just job security in the long run.
And third, maybe the biggest shift. Make your money work for you.
Not the other way around. Don't just work for money.
That's the heart of it.
So here's something to chew on as we wrap up. Reflecting on all this, how might thinking more like an entrepreneur or adopting that work-to-learn mindset, how might that shift your perspective on your own financial path, even in just one small way?
Yeah, what's one small step you could take, thinking differently?
Definitely worth pondering. We encourage you to keep exploring these ideas. Thanks for diving deep with us today.